All right, welcome back. This is going to be kind of a short video because unless you are in the Master Writing Skills class, then you have already gone through this with the speaking section. That's because today we are talking about the personal preference task in the writing section. And as you already know from the last video, this one is just like the personal preference task in the speaking section. Therefore, the strategy is going to be basically the same. The only difference is that you're going to have a lot more time to develop your response. You have to type the response, and your response has to be a bit longer than it would be in the speaking section. So let's go through it. All right, now, first of all, you have to read the task on the screen, obviously. You can't do this task without doing that because you have to find out what the task is. All right, so you read the task on the screen. You decide which option you're going to choose, whether it's your preference or not. You're going to at least pretend it's your preference. And you have to think of at least one good thing about the choice that you choose and at least one bad thing about the one that you don't. And since your response has to be longer, you should also think of at least one example for each of those things. That way, you don't have to really add unnecessary sentences just to get up to the word length, because you could have a very nice response that's only 150 words, but that's not going to fulfill the task as far as the word count, and so you get graded down. But if you add a bunch of sentences that are just repeating the same things that you've already said before, that's going to make your response not very good quality, and so you get marked down for that. So it would be better if you could think of more than one reason for each of the choices. So you have one option that you choose. Try to think of at least two reasons why you would choose that. And then you have the option that you don't choose. Try to think of two reasons. Now, you could think of two bad things about the option you didn't choose, and that's why you didn't choose it. You can also even think of something good about the option that you didn't choose. And then you can use contrasting phrases like, even though some people think that blah, 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 saying something good about it, I would still prefer this option because. Now, by using contrasting phrases like that will actually show that your English level is a bit higher than the bare minimum, and that could actually improve your score. So once you think of those extra reasons, then think of an example for each one of those to illustrate your point. For example, one time when I was blah, 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 I did this, and that's, something that shows an example of the reason for the option that you chose. And then you just put those into your response. You have to go through your response and proofread it. That's why you have all that extra time. So you're going to use that extra time after you create your rough draft to go through the sentences, make sure that your spelling is correct, make sure that you have full sentences, not just a bunch of simple sentences. Make sure that the sentence structure is correct and that the transition of ideas from one paragraph to the next makes sense, because that is one of the criteria that you will be scored upon. But you have 30 minutes to do this, so you're going to have plenty of time. And really, it is that easy. So as I always say on these pages, to copy the form of a good example, because then you'll see the structure, and then you can use that same structure to create your own response. So let's take a look at one here. Now, this is the task from the course that you saw earlier. It says, some people may prefer to eat foods that are supposed to be healthy for them, even though they do not bring them any joy. Other people prefer to eat whatever makes them happy, even if those foods are not supposed to be good for them. Which do you prefer? Giving reasons and explanations to support your decisions. Okay, so here you only have two options. Healthy food that's kind of boring, or unhealthy food which makes you happy. All right, so this is the example of a good response. Okay, so it says, it has definitely become very popular these days to be more conscious of what you eat. A lot of people that I know have started eating much more healthily because they are concerned about their weight and about their overall health. I think this is very important, and I also like to eat healthy foods as much as possible. Okay, so you can see here with this second sentence, I'm giving an example. I know a lot of people who eat more healthy because they're concerned, blah, blah, blah. So that's one example right there. But I have noticed that a lot of people that are very concerned about the types of food that they eat seem to have a lot of anxiety about it. Not only do they not enjoy the food when they feel forced to eat it, but I also noticed that they seem to have a great deal of anxiety about wanting to eat other foods that they actually do enjoy just because those foods are not supposed to be very good for you. The problem is that they usually give in and eat those foods anyway, and then feel really guilty or upset about it afterwards. This, to me, is the worst way of eating possible. It may not be as healthy to eat a hamburger and fries as it is to eat a salad full of fresh vegetables, but I think that eating that delicious hamburger and then feeling bad about it afterwards is even less healthy. We all know that you can make yourself sick just by worrying about things, so I think that we can make ourselves unhealthy and fat in the same way. It has been proven that one's attitude affects health, so eating a burger and fries and enjoying every moment of it, not feeling bad about it, I think can actually be a good thing. Also, no one eats unhealthy food for every meal, so as long as you're also eating healthy things when you can, then I think that it is much better to just eat whatever you want and feel good about it. Okay, so here, there was an example for each of the choices. Eating healthy, but not enjoying it. There was the example about the people feeling anxiety. There was an example of just the situation in general, but then also the example of the person who eats supposedly unhealthy food and feeling good about it. Now, you'll notice here that the word count is 325, which is a little bit over the normal count. They said that a good answer would be about 300. You probably wouldn't get marked down for going this much over, but if you're concerned about that, let's take a look at what 25 words is. Here, this little section here, that's two sentences. This doesn't need to be in the answer. So when you're proofreading and you think, well, that looks a little bit over, maybe I should make this shorter. This is the perfect example because maybe you don't think about what 25 words is, but let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Okay, so we've already reached 25 and we haven't even gotten to the end of two sentences. 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. So that brings you a little bit below the word count that they mentioned in the official video, but you won't get marked down for being that much below. So if you feel more comfortable about being that much closer to the 300 mark, this is a good example of something that you could take out. It's a perfectly good couple of sentences and it helps to express the idea, but you could get the full idea and still eliminate this here because it's better. This is my opinion. I think it's better to have more words and go back and be able to take something out if you have enough time to do that than it would be to be significantly under and then try to add words in. It's kind of like, the artist who is doing a sculpture. They chisel away the parts of the sculpture that aren't the image that they want rather than adding things to the sculpture to make it the way they look. So that's just a metaphor about how to write the perfect answer. It's better to type more and take words away that are unnecessary than it is to type less and then try to fit more words in just to fit the word count. All right, so that's pretty much it as far as the example sentence. You can see that 300 words is not a lot. It seems like, I have to do 300 words, but you'll notice right here, this is more than 25 words right here. You can kind of think that an average full complex English sentence is between 15 to 20 words, 25 words. About between, I'd say 10 to 15 words is a good average English sentence. That's pretty much it for the example there. As I said before, you're following exactly the same strategy. It's even a little bit more simple than I wrote in the speaking section because you've already gone through that and you already know how to do this. You have the option that you chose, something good about it, the option that you didn't choose, something bad about it, possibly something good about the option that you didn't choose, and examples for each one to illustrate your point. And then, of course, you have a summary sentence that ties the whole idea together. And that's really it. So we'll get a little bit more into the tricks and traps. I already kind of mentioned them in the beginning of this video, but I will put those down onto the page and then we'll talk about them in a little bit more detail. But that's it for this one. So thank you for stopping by and we'll see you in the next lesson.